What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes, here, back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Medicom toy, or Mafex, Batman from Justice League, the Snyder version. And this obviously is going to be the definitive version of this figure, as long as we don't run into any problems. This is yet another Batman action figure that I have been truly looking forward to. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the sexy packaging. Now, I love Medicom Toys' attention to detail, even when it comes to the smallest things. If you look at this package, you can see that it is clearly in black and white. And if you guys do know anything about the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, he did make a version of the movie that was in black and white, I guess for a more cinematic aspect. I don't remember what the reason was, but obviously we got two versions, so therefore no one could complain. Anyway, the package is in complete black and white. It does say DC. Zack Snyder's Justice League. The logo's kind of faded right there. You can barely see it. You've got an image of Batman, which is the figure right there, the window where you can see the figure. Batman, Snyderverse, Mafex 222, Medicom toy, image of Batman on the side right here. Also at the top, this is an actual movie image. At the bottom right there, nothing that anyone cares about. On the side, we've got him posed up, ready to go. The Justice League logo, the same stuff at the bottom. And then, of course, on the back, here is where we finally get some color. We've got the figure looking really damn good, showcasing all of the accessories, or at least quite a few of them, the poses, and all that good stuff. Now, anyway, let's go ahead and bust this figure out of the packaging so we can see what it's all about. Now, one thing to know about me is that if any said company makes a Batman action figure that intrigues me, I am going to buy it, especially if that said company is Medicom toy or Mafex. If you guys go back and look throughout the entirety of for as long as I've been reviewing, you'll see that I have reviewed every single Medicom toy, Justice League, Batman action figure, or basically anything from the DCEU, man. Just because I really love these Ben Affleck Batman figures, man. I love just how much Medicom toy has constantly improved with every single one of these releases. I remember getting the first one that came out, and I thought it was a peak action figure until I started to get an understanding of what could make these things better. And now here we are once again with something that completely blows that first release out of the water, making it more than just inferior. It's absolutely an unnecessary figure to have in your collection. Now, when it comes to Ben Affleck, this is my favorite Batman. So obviously there's going to be a lot of bias in this video, but straight up, yo, Medicom toy absolutely killed it when it comes to this Batman, man. Something about that Frank Miller look is just so appealing to me, man. It's just so damn good. And Ben Affleck, not only as Batman, but also as Bruce Wayne, does everything he needs to in order to sell me those damn tickets. I literally would go and watch these movies just because of him. If he wasn't in them, I wouldn't have been nearly as interested. But now that I have got him once again translated into the best version of his action figure form yet, I couldn't be happier, man. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure so we can examine these amazing details. Now, detail-wise, this is an entirely new sculpt. I know some people have been saying, they just reused the mold, they beefed him up a little bit. No, this is an entirely new sculpt for this Batman, and I love that Medicom toy does that. I love that they're not constantly reusing molds. I would be okay if they did it sometimes, though, especially if it made some of their figures a little bit cheaper, because Medicom toy figures have gone up in price over the years. I remember these things used to be 40 bucks a pop. Then they went up to 60, and I think I paid close to 80 for this guy, man. So yeah, they've definitely gone up. But once I get these in hand, especially if it's a character I'm fond of, it doesn't really bother me, man. If you look, there's a ton of sculpt work and detail in there. You got Batman with the angry look. The eyes look amazing. The 5 o'clock shadow looks good. You've got the detail lining and the facial features features that show underneath the cowl. Just looking really dang good, man. All the sculpt work and detail on the chest, the arms, the bicep little gauntlets. It's just so much going on here, man. And then there's also shading in the figure. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but there's shading in the core, the biceps, the thighs. A lot going on here. Even in the belt, yo. This is not a solid colored belt, yo. It's the gold has some blackwash in it to make it or give it that realistic look. And they did the same thing under the gauntlets here. If you look, this gold has a ton of black shading in it, showcasing these things have been used and been through the ringer. So I love that Medicom toy does this, man. Their figures are just turning out so damn good this year, man. I haven't bought as many as I usually do because I said I was going to stop collecting Medicom toy, but man, every time they release something I want, it kind of drags me back in. But if you look, you've got a ton of sculpt work on the legs. You can see the muscle definition in there. You've also got some wrinkles where you can see, okay, there is still fabric. He's caked up as he should be. I mean, he's Batman, yo. This man works out every freaking muscle in his body. This man could probably lift a freaking 50-pound weight with his pinky toe because he's the GOAT. And then down to the boots, yo. This just looks so good, man. This figure alone, just look-wise and aesthetics, absolute masterpiece, yo. And then I also want to talk about this cape. It is this like pleather type material, which I do like. But one thing I don't like about it is when it comes to it, and I'm actually going to zoom out for a second. If you look, and you see my light on the screen, it only has wiring on each end of the cape, which means getting it to flow out, it's going to go, but the midsection is always going to droop down. Like you can get it blowing like this, but you're never going to get the whole cape to stand up and blow out. So I really don't like when they do that. I would rather there be maybe at least 2 or 3 more things of wire in here so you could really get that cape flowing effect whenever you're posing this guy. But other than that, it's solid. I'll probably change this anyway at some point. So yeah, but very damn good looking figure, man. So when it comes to the height of this figure, to the top of his head, as you guys can see, he stands right at about 6.5 inches, just a tad bit over to the top of his small bat ears. So yeah, very, very good scaling on this guy. He feels a bit bigger or taller than the older figures. Sadly, I don't have any of those, but it doesn't matter because this is going to be my definitive Zack Snyder Batman. Articulation-wise, he looks up very freaking well. Look at that, man. That is what I'm talking about. Refined articulation. I remember when this wasn't even something you would imagine when you first started collecting Medicom toy. He looks down about that much, which is fine. The chin is basically touching the chest, so I wouldn't expect it to go any more. Really good tilt and turn, so that's good. You can get him to be very expressive. Arms do go up and out about that much, so T-poses, no problem. Obviously, you can swing them around if you want to get him with the arms posed out higher or him using those bat poses or bat grapple poses. Bringing the arms in is probably going to be the worst part of this figure because the butterfly joints are there, but they're not effective. And it's just because, man, the pecs on this guy are crazy. I do wish they had went a little overboard with the butterfly joints so you could bring the arms in, but sadly, you're not going to be able to. So yeah, that does kind of suck. When it comes to the bicep swivel is there. Double jointed elbows, a bit stiff. So I would say when you first get this figure, don't try to pose the elbows moving too fast. Go slow with it just to make sure you don't have any issues. As you guys just saw I did. I went very slow with it. Anyway, when it comes to the hands, they are on a hinge. They move around well enough. Not the best mobility, but I mean, he's got these gauntlets on, so it's to be expected. Now, I did hear when it comes to the diaphragm joint, this is also another piece that you need to maneuver around slowly because you can get some paint rub and paint chipping and things like that, which you don't want on an expensive figure like this. So when you're moving back, He leans back about that much. You do get some gapping if you go all the way. And then when he leans forward about that much. Not the most, but it is still effective. You do get decent amount of side-to-side rocker, not the best. So the torso articulation could be a little better, but I mean, it's fine. I can work with it. He does turn at the waist, no problem. And that's what happens when you use a ball peg at the waist, as you should. Drop down legs, kicks out about that much, so that's perfectly fine. And then when it comes to doing the splits, he can do the splits about that much. Not the best, wish they could go a little bit further, but I think this is pretty standard when it comes to Medicom toy figures, so I'm okay with it. He does have a thigh swivel. When it comes to the knees, double jointed, just like the elbows. Go slow with these until you break the figure in, because you don't want these joints to break because you're stressing them too soon. Anyway, foot goes down about that much, up about that much. Decent ankle rocker, not the best, but it does work. And then the toe hinge is a little weird, actually. It doesn't really go up. It kind of just goes out. So yeah, that is a little weird. It's almost unnecessary. So basically, I feel like that shouldn't have even been there. So when it comes to the articulation, definitely not as good as we've seen from other Mafex figures. Still good, but not great. I'd say I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10 at best. The torso could be a little bit better. The toe articulation, just non-existent. And the legs, I do wish could go out a little bit further. So maybe I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Now, when it comes to accessories, you don't really get a whole lot with this guy, but you get enough. First off, he comes out of the package with his neutral head sculpt and a pair of fist hands. He then comes with his signature teeth gritting face, which this is something that Medicom Toy always throws in. I've made fun of them for this for quite a few times because it's usually what the alternate head always is. And then he does come with an alternate Ben Affleck head sculpt, which I think the face printing on this looks very good, yo. It looks very good. This looks exactly like Ben Affleck. The only issue I have with this is they added some gray in the hair this time around to show that he has aged, but I feel like the gray should be a bit more subtle just so it would give it more of a natural look. This kind of looks like they did the hair the way that it was supposed to be, and they did a quick 1 or 2 brush strokes over it, and they didn't even try to blend it properly to give it that natural look. So yeah, not really a fan of the gray. They could have left that out in my opinion, but the 5 o'clock shadow does look really dang good. The eyes and everything, the eyebrows, it looks like Ben Affleck. And if you look at the forehead, you can even see that there is some wrinkles in there. So yeah, very, very good on that. The gray could have been left out. Now, lastly, he does also come with an interchangeable head where he is yelling. Now, this is something I never thought Medicom Toy was going to do. I used to always make fun of them saying they're never going to give us any yelling, angry, aggressive heads. And then they finally started doing it. And what's crazy is they turned out this good as soon as Medicom Toy started doing it, yo. So I'm really, really digging these. Hopefully we start getting more of these with more of their figures. So that's dope. Now, in terms of hands, he comes with a pair of Batarang holding hands. He comes with a pair of grapple gun holding hands. He comes with a pair of stylish pose hands. He also comes with 3 different Batarangs. I'm only going to show one of these because I don't want to drop it, but they are 3 of the exact same Batarangs. So yeah. And then he does come with his grapple gun, which this is cool, or grappling claw, whatever you want to call it. And then he does also come with the signature Medicom Toy stand. So accessory wise, decent amount. I wish he came with a bit more. It would have been cool to get the Parademon cannon once again and maybe some other stuff just to make this figure feel like it's more worth the price we paid for it. But I mean, it is what it is. Moving on to size comparisons. First off, I did want to show him off standing next to my favorite Batman figure. Actually, at this point, both of these are my favorite Batman figures. Here he is standing next to the Kyoto Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Batman Arkham Knight Batman. And these two are just such good ass figures, man. And imagine getting jumped by both of these Batman. Yo, you're cooked, my guy. Here he is standing next to some more Batman figures. We have him standing next to the Medicom toy masterpiece, Robert Pattinson Batman. We've got him standing next to the SH Figure Arts, The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan Batman. And then we've also got him standing next to the DC Icons Rebirth Batman. Next up, here he is standing next to the SH Figure Arts Suicide Squad Deadshot, the SH Figure Arts Injustice Harley Quinn, and the SH Figure Arts The Dark Knight Joker. Lastly, here he is standing next to an SH Figure Arts Suicide Squad The Joker. We have him standing next to a Mattel Alfred, and then a Hasbro Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows 2-pack Spider-Man. Now, when it comes to my final thoughts on this figure, I'll go ahead and acknowledge that it is definitely not a perfect figure by any means. I went over everything that I thought was wrong with this figure, but at the end of the day, it is still a big-ass joy to have in my collection just because of how cool it looks. This is one of those figures that you just look at it and it looks so cool, you like it for that reason. When you add the accessories, the posability, and all of that good stuff to it, it makes it that much better. So yes, even with its flaws, it is still an amazing figure. Now, don't get me wrong, I do wish that those flaws didn't exist, especially when it comes to the posability at the legs. It is going to hinder some of those dynamic poses that you could get the figure into. I would really love to be able to go all out posing this Batman the way that I want to. I do wish we got a little bit more mobility in the torso, but for the most part, if you mess around with it, there's not too many poses that you can't get this figure into. The main limitations are going to come out of the butterfly joints because of the fact that they don't come far enough out to where you can really cross the hands over the chest the way that you want to. It's still possible, but it's not something that you're going to be able to get to go to the extreme like you're posing a Revoltech or some kind of crazy SH Figure Arts. You're going to be able to get him to do basically everything that he was able to do in the movies without any hesitation. But again, just be really careful with that torso because I did hear about the paint rubbing issue and no one wants that on a figure that looks this damn good, yo. This thing is just absolutely amazing. I say this all the time. I love seeing how far Medicom toy has come because I was collecting them from the beginning and it was to the point people were honestly clowning me for picking them up. They were labeled as the worst action figure company to be making 6-inch imports, and now look at where they are, man. People are going crazy over these things. A lot of them are selling out, and these, in my opinion, look better than a lot of SH Figure Arts, a lot of Figmas, especially when they make realistic characters. I don't think anyone is touching Medicom toy when it comes to what they are making. They own it, and I absolutely love it. So if you're wondering if I recommend this figure, hell to the yes, I do. Get your hands on this guy. He's totally worth it. Now, overall, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as that always helps me out. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever I upload new content. And last but not least, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe wherever you are, and bye.